asal seperti Tiongkok dan Rusia, tapi Iran juga bukan lawan yang paling lemah yang bisa dihadapi Arasa. Iran menempati peringkat ke-16 dari 145 negara Global Firepower Review tahunan untuk tahun 2025 dengan kekuatan militer yang sebanding dengan Ukraina, Australia, dan rival utamanya, Israel. Dengan populasi lebih dari 88 juta jiwa, Iran memiliki kekuatan militer terbesar di kawasan tersebut dengan perkiraan total personel militer sekitar 1,18 juta orang. Dari jumlah tersebut, sekitar 610.000 merupakan pasukan aktif menurut Global Firepower. Itu termasuk sekitar 420.000 di Artesh, yaitu Angkatan Darat Konvensional Iran, dan sekitar 190.000 di Korps Garda Revolusi Islam elit PRGC, dengan tambahan sekitar 500.000 cadangan PRGC. Sementara itu, Kepolisian Nasional dan pasukan perbatasan negara tersebut yang sebelumnya dikenal sebagai Naja dan sekarang disebut Faraja menambah sekitar 200.000 hingga 300.000 personel lagi, meskipun pasukan ini sering dihitung secara terpisah karena peran utamanya dalam keamanan internal. Puluhan tahun, sanksi dan masalah ekonomi membuat militer Iran kekurangan perlengkapan dan senjata dibanding Amerika Serikat, sehingga jumlah mereka di perang darat belum tentu berpengaruh besar. Namun, kuantitas memiliki kualitas tersendiri pada perang. Lebih penting lagi, pasukan darat Iran bukan inti kekuatan militer utama yang harus dihadapi Aselas. Faktanya, bukan kekuatan militer itu sendiri yang menjadi masalah terbesar bagi para Iran, melainkan luasnya wilayah dan geografi negara tersebut yang menghadirkan hambatan pertahanan yang menakutkan sekaligus peluang besar untuk aksi ofensif. Untuk pertahanan, ukuran Iran yang relatif besar, sekitar 636.000 mil persegi, seperti lebih kecil dari Alaska yang berukuran 663.000 mil persegi, memberikannya kedalaman strategis yang signifikan.
So you're looking after the drink stand now. If I'd known sooner, I would have stopped by this morning.
Sebagian besar pusat populasi penting Iran, seperti Teheran, Isfahan, dan Tabriz, terletak di pegunungan atau dilindungi pegunungan. Medan pegunungan ini memungkinkan pembangunan jaringan pertahanan besar, seperti terowongan luas, pangkalan bawah tanah.
I've got to say, I'm getting curious. I've heard a lot about your mixology skills. I wonder what kinds of drinks you can mix with the ingredients Glenfiddich has prepared.
Pertarungan antara angkatan udara atau laut Alesan dengan Iran ibarat orang dewasa melawan anak kecil.
I don't have much of a choice. It's just one thing after another right now. First off, the Knights of Favonia's annual combat assessment is coming up. And this year, the standards are higher than ever. As the captain of the reconnaissance company, I have to lead by example. At the very least, I need to rank as one of the top 3 captains in the practical portion. So, I've been intensifying my training lately. Being a descendant of sinners means I have to work hard to maintain my position. I'll have you know I've never once neglected my duties. Anyway, on top of all that, my duel with Miss Clorange required a lot of focus and energy. Learning how to turn defense into attack and seize the initiative when facing a combined assault from sword and musket. Even now, I'm still chewing through the details. But in the end, the exchange went well, and both parties learned a great deal. Never mind writing reports from 6 different perspectives, I feel like there's enough worth mentioning to write 24 of the things. Oh, I sure could. Anything that'll perk me up would be welcome. I'll leave the details to you.
Meskipun Iran telah lama mengklaim membatasi jangkauan misilnya sekitar 1.250 mil, beberapa sistem seperti Karam Shah diyakini mampu menjangkau lebih jauh lagi, kemungkinan hingga 1.864 mil. Sekarang kita tahu tantangan Amerika Serikat. Mari kita bahas cara menembus pertahanan ini dan senjata yang membuat para mulah gelisah. Target utama serangan Amerika Serikat adalah fasilitas militer bawah tanah, tempat penyimpanan amunisi, dan silo misil di seluruh negeri. Fasilitas-fasilitas ini menjadi pusat perlawanan utama Iran terhadap serangan, dan disinilah bom penembus bunker Amerika Serikat yang ditakuti berperang. GBU 57 ABMOP, singkatan dari Massive Ordnance Penetrator, adalah bom penembus bunker seberat 30.000 pon yang dipandu dengan presisi dan digunakan oleh Angkatan Darat Amerika Serikat. GBU 57 atau Guided Bomb Unit 57 jauh lebih besar dibandingkan bom penembus bunker terdalam yang sebelumnya tersedia, yaitu 28 dan GBU 37 seberat 5.000 pon. Karena ukurannya, bom ini hanya dapat dibawa pembom besar seperti B2 Spirit. Penjelasan lebih lanjut akan dibahas nanti di video ini. GBU 57 memiliki panjang 20,5 kaki diameter, 31,5 inci dan berat 27.125 pon. Bom ini dikembangkan dan diuji oleh Angkatan Udara Alianas dan Defense Threat Reduction Agency pada 2004, lalu ditingkatkan untuk memperbaiki penetrasi dan daya ledaknya. Dengan uji coba
One
penjatuhan
twinkling
yang berhasil
starlight for
dilakukan
Captain
pada
Eula.
tahun
Hope you like it.
2014, 2015,
Judging by your confident tone, I'm certain I will. Well then, I'll make sure to savor this thoroughly.
Kaki ke dalam tanah sebelum meledak, menjadikannya alat penting untuk menyerang struktur bawah tanah yang sangat diperkuat.
Not bad.
MOP diyakini
Sweet
sebagai
and
bunker
tingly,
buster
with
non-nuklir
a delightful
paling kuat dan
airiness.
paling dalam di dunia
The
saat
fizzy
ini.
water really brings it to
Senjata ini
life.
dipadu dan
I
dapat
suddenly feel
menghantam
full of vim
permukaan
and
di atas
vigor,
targetnya
but just
dengan
one
tingkat
glass doesn't
akurasi yang
quite
tinggi.
scratch the itch. How about something with a bit more bite? Don't hold back. You don't need to worry about putting me on the floor with nothing but a couple of drinks.
612 sistem rak bom BRU 72 adaptor penguatan MOP.
Works for me. The first company hasn't assigned me any paperwork for tonight, so I'm free to catch up and try your new creations at my leisure.
Satu bom ini cukup untuk menembus sebagian besar fasilitas bawah tanah, dan setiap B2 bisa membawa 2.
That's right. The merchant I got it from called it Romaritime flower fruit extract. It has a very unique smell. Here, have a bottle.
Memungkinkan beberapa bom dijatuhkan pada target yang sama.
Oh, it's a necessary courtesy. In that book Miss Magistus lent me, The Blade Dancer, 20 years on, it says, after a duel, a Fontanian swordsman will politely invite their defeated opponents to a banquet. To properly play host to Miss Clorand, I searched for quite some time to locate a rare goods merchant in Dorman Port who sold this juice. I had my doubts at first, too. But Amber said something that makes a lot of sense. She said that even if this custom doesn't really exist, following it still shows I've made an effort to understand Fontaine's cultural heritage. Besides, who doesn't like trying new things, right? When I gave it to her at our post-training banquet, Miss Clorand really did enjoy this juice.
Antara tahun 1987 dan 2000, sebanyak 21 B2 diproduksi dengan biaya rata 2,13 miliar dolar, yang jika dihitung nilai saat ini akan lebih dari 4 miliar dolar per pesawat. B2 adalah satu-satunya pesawat yang diabdi dalam layanan yang dapat membawa senjata jarak jauh, udara ke permukaan, berukuran besar, seperti AGM-158 rubal jelajah JSSN dalam konfigurasi Siemens. Sebagai alternatif dari GBU 57 pesawat ini, dapat menjatuhkan senjata konvensional dan nuklir, termasuk hingga 82 JDA.
Yes, I have. For a while, the situation there was difficult. A gang of outlaw engineers was messing about with some sort of mechanism control technology, attempting to manipulate ruin graders so they could rob merchant caravans. To make matters worse, several veteran knights who had been stationed at Dorman Port were transferred to my squad, and they weren't happy to be taking orders from that Lawrence girl. Leading them on this mission was quite eventful. It took 3 weeks of stealth operations in the snow, with no fires to keep us warm, before we finally located the enemy's stronghold. Those veteran knights faced the bitter cold and were almost taken down by the enemy's smuggled battle mechs. Fortunately, the battle went our way, and they had no choice but to acknowledge my abilities.
atau GATS
Me?
yang menggunakan radar
I'm
bukaan sintetis
completely fine.
APQ-100
But thank you for your concern.
untuk memetakan
It
target.
was mentally tiring for sure.
B2
But fortunately,
dapat melakukan
the
misi
operation
serangan
wore them down
pada
far more than it
ketinggian
did me.
250.000
They won't be questioning my
kaki
authority again
menjejak
anytime
bawah
soon.
tanpa pengisian bahan
If any
bakar.
new recruits try to
Lebih
make
dari
my life
6.000
difficult,
mil
I'll
laut
just have my
dan
veterans give them a
dapat
few
terbang
friendly
lebih dari 10.000
pointers.
mil laut
I guess
hanya
you could
dengan
call
1
them
kali
a
pengisian
permanent
bahan
solution,
bakar di
huh?
udara. Pesawat ini memiliki kecepatan maksimum 630 km per jam pada ketinggian 40.000 kaki, Mach 0,95 di permukaan laut, dan kecepatan jelajah.
If you want to know what I've been eating
260
recently,
mil
I'd
per
better start
jam
by
pada
mentioning the
ketinggian
logistics company's
40.000
latest
kaki.
revolution.
B2
They launched a
awalnya
diet
dirancang
improvement
sebagai
initiative
pemburu nuklir,
and started distributing a
namun
form of
pertama kali
standardized
digunakan
canned
dalam
food to
pertempuran
knights operating in the
untuk menjatuhkan
wilderness.
amunisi
In the
konvensional
past,
pada
we only
perang
had dry
Kosovo
rations.
1990.
Every mealtime, we had to set up pots and campfires, roll dice to choose a
Pesawat
cook,
ini lalu
and take
dipakai
turns
Irak,
standing guard.
Afghanistan, Libya,
In all
dan Yaman.
honesty, it was a bit of a
Kapal
hassle.
kapal Iran.
Now we just need to bring our
Mereka
standard
menghadapi
field
terpaksa
rations,
menaklukkan
comprising of
langit
5 cans and 9
dan
paper
sabotase
packages.
maut dan
We can
kehancuran
heat the
besar
cans by
dengan
the
senjata
campfire, and
konvensional
then we're ready to
atau
eat.
nuklir sebelum mereka menyadarinya. B2 Spirit bukan satu-satunya pesawat yang akan membuat orang Iran merasa seolah-olah langit
You
runtuh
did
di
say
atas kepala
sounds
mereka.
like, right?
Mereka
Our
juga
canned
harus
food
mencoba
supplier has
menghadapi
quite the stellar
F-35
reputation, and their regular meals are indeed quite
Lightning
good.
II
The
adalah
problem is,
keluarga pesawat
in order to
tempur
meet
siluman
preservation
supersonik
standards,
bermesin
they
tunggal
have to make their
yang
military-grade
berawak
meals
tunggal
way
asal
too
Amerika,
salty.
sebuah pesawat tempur
The vice captain of the 5th
multiperan
Company,
yang dirancang
who
untuk
has a
misi
somewhat
superioritas
dry sense of
udara
humor,
maupun
went so
serangan.
far as to say,
Pesawat ini
"This
juga
food's
memiliki
bad enough to
kemampuan
bring down the
peperangan
wrath of
elektronik,
Liyue's stove
serta
god."
intelijen,
In any case, after eating it
dan
for a week,
pengintaian
my
atau
taste buds have
hyperspace.
gone completely
Pesawat
numb.
ini memiliki 3 varian utama, yaitu varian lepas landas dan mendarat konvensional.
You can hardly blame the logistics company. After all, it is hard to please everyone. Our feedback has already been submitted, and they should be working on fixing the issue. Of course, having fresh meals prepared in camp by a dedicated company chef is still the best option.
Varian kapal hibrid ini sangat relevan, seperti akan kita bahas segera. F-35 pertama kali terbang pada tahun 2006, dan F-35B mulai digunakan oleh Korps Marinir Amerika Serikat pada Juli 2015, diikuti oleh F-35A oleh Angkatan Darat Amerika Serikat pada Agustus 2016, dan F-35C oleh Angkatan Laut Amerika Serikat pada Februari 2019. Pesawat ini pertama kali digunakan dalam pertempuran pada 2018 oleh Angkatan Udara Israel, salah satu sekutu ala Kelas yang kini makin sering mengoperasikan pesawat tempur revolusioner ini. Amerika Serikat berencana membeli 2.456 unit F-35 hingga 2044 yang akan menjadi bagian utama kekuatan penerbangan taktis Angkatan Udara, Angkatan Laut, dan Korps Marinir selama beberapa dekade. Namun, pesawat ini juga direncanakan akan menjadi tulang punggung kekuatan udara NATO dan sekutu Amerika Serikat hingga tahun 2070. Apa yang menjadikan F-35 bagian penting kekuatan udara Amerika Serikat dan sekutunya saat ini dan ke depan? Dan mengapa hal ini menyebabkan tingkat kortisol yang tinggi pada pimpinan militer Iran? Itu karena kombinasi antara daya tembak, kemampuan siluman, dan kelincahan. Pesawat tempur generasi kelima kedua
Oh my. To be honest, before we crossed swords, I was feeling eager, but also a little nervous. Miss Cloran's combat style comes from the mysterious Marechaussee hunters. In the library, there are some old Fontanian newspapers from hundreds of years ago that give some idea of how formidable an organization it was. A more recent newspaper claimed that Miss Clorand was an orphan from an underwater kingdom, and that before battle she would perform rituals inviting spirits to possess her sword. Certainly, from my own experiences, Miss Clorand's abilities more than match those descriptions.
Mereka harus mampu mengalahkan pesawat generasi terbaru ini agar bisa memberikan efek apapun dalam menahan serangan Amerika Serikat.
Incorporating elements of swordsmanship into a drink. Certainly a creative idea, I'll give you that. A commemorative cocktail at a time like this sounds nice, but how do you plan to express something like swordsmanship with a drink?
Pesawat ini memiliki konfigurasi sayap dan ekor dengan dua ban stabil vertikal yang diberikan untuk tingkat ketertahanan.
That definitely matches the description I read in that book.
Meliputi flap tepi depan, flap front, kemudi, dan ekor horizontal yang sepenuhnya bergerak atau stabilator. Ekstensi pangkal tepi depan atau chines juga memanjang hingga saluran masuk udara. Saluran masuk udara supersonik.
That's right. You really know your stuff. I doubt there's anyone else in all of Tibet who could come up with such a perfect metaphor.
Untuk membuang lapisan batas dari depan badan pesawat, membentuk saluran berbentuk ion ke mesin. Fitur siluman F-35 membuatnya jadi mimpi buruk bagi radar dan pertahanan udara Iran. F-35 jauh lebih berat dibandingkan pesawat ringan yang digantikannya dengan varian ringan memiliki berat kosong 29.300 ton. Sebagian besar beratnya berasal dari
There's no need to make it sound so fancy. It's just an aristocratic variant of Favonius blade work, with a bit of personal flair. Firewater. In recent years, firewaters gained popularity the world over. Following in the wake of prosperous you really are good. Why don't we try replacing the fruit wine with firewater? As for the alcohol content, that's not a problem. Plenty of the expedition team may have drunk themselves senseless with firewater. But me, I'm full of confidence.
Guys, selamat datang di Beyond terakhir. Salah geser, bisa modar. Ngeri banget ini guys. Negara Kuba resmi porak-poranda hari ini. Mereka berada di ujung tanduk karena ada lebih dari 10 juta rakyat Kuba yang bakal hancur, mati kelaparan. Dan
Brilliant. I'm looking forward to seeing how you do.
Hubungannya dengan Nicolas Maduro, presidennya Venezuela. Kok bisa ya? Kalau lu penasaran, jangan di-skip video ini. Let's check this. Jadi teman-teman udah resmi ya, Donald Trump itu menyatakan perang besar-besaran terhadap negara yang ukurannya begitu kecil sekarang dibully sama Amerika Serikat. Dan sudah resmi ya, Donald Trump mengatakan secara terbuka dia tidak akan mengizinkan ada kapal minyak yang masuk ke Kuba. Karena Kuba mau impor minyak hari ini nggak boleh. Dan bahkan bukan cuma minyak, impor bahan makanan juga dilarang guys. Hari ini terjadi krisis energi dan krisis pangan di negara kecil yang namanya Kuba. Dan ini betul-betul tindakan yang brutal loh dan semena-mena. Tapi lu udah tau lah yang namanya channel Benix. Ya sebenarnya gua bahas ini bukan tentang rakyat Kuba. Karena ada agenda tersembunyi Donald Trump yang lu kalau penasaran, lu harus lihat di akhir video ini. Kenapa? Karena per hari ini, begitu gawatnya kondisi di Kuba, hampir 20% warganya sudah kabur meninggalkan Kuba dalam 3 tahun terakhir. Nah, buat reminder aja lah guys, ini bukan yang pertama kalinya ya Donald Trump itu ngebully negara-negara kecil yang ada di Amerika. Satu benua sama mereka, tapi diperlakukan kayak budak guys. Yang pertama, udah tahu ya, namanya Venezuela. Jadi, tanggal 6 Januari 2026, teman-teman bisa lihat tweetnya Donald Trump. Dia udah bilang, I'm pleased. Jadi dia kayaknya bangga banget dan senang banget kalau mereka udah take over. Mereka sudah akuisisi Venezuela dan mereka bakal mulai memproduksi 30-50 juta barel minyak setiap harinya. Dan minyak ini tentunya bakal dikirim ke Amerika Serikat. Luar biasa, good news buat Amerika Serikat. Tapi dari sini, lu udah bisa lihat akan terjadi gangguan supply chain khususnya buat minyak bumi. Kenapa? Karena teman-teman tahu, Venezuela itu ekspor minyaknya yang paling besar ke negara Cina. Yes, Tapi lu tahu nggak, Venezuela itu juga lumbung minyak bagi negara kecil yang namanya Kuba. Jadi teman-teman bisa lihat di layar kaca ya, negara kecil yang namanya
Here's
Kuba
your
ini
all-new
juga
Seafoam
bisa
Sword
bertahan
Song,
hidup karena
mixed to meet your
energinya
personal
mengandalkan impor
preferences.
dari negara asing.
Oh
Jadi
my,
teman-teman bisa lihat
what
di layar
beautiful
kaca,
colors.
Februari
And you even
2025,
added my romaritime
mayoritas
flower
minyak
fruit
yang masuk ke
extract.
Kuba, minyak buminya berasal dari 4 negara, Algeria, Rusia,
The aroma is
Meksiko, dan
perfect,
Venezuela.
and I can smell the
Tapi
alcohol,
semuanya berubah
but it
begitu
doesn't
Venezuela
stifle the
kolaps
fruity
diakuisisi
fragrance.
sama Amerika Serikat.
Let's see how it
Dan
tastes.
teman-teman bisa lihat di November 2025, sejak diblokade, Rusia, minyak yang bisa masuk ke Kuba cuma dari 2 negara yang namanya
Give me a moment
Meksiko
to
dan Venezuela. Nah,
come up with the right
kenapa kondisi
words.
jadi berbahaya?
I need to think
Karena begitu Venezuela
carefully.
diculik presidennya sama
I
Donald Trump,
know it's
dan
unbecoming of a
dilarang
lady,
keluar
and
dari Venezuela
proper
kecuali menuju
connoisseur would
Amerika
savor
Serikat.
their
Apa
drinks
yang terjadi?
slowly.
Kuba yang selama
But
ini mengandalkan impor
I'm
minyak dari
sorry,
Venezuela
this is just
terpaksa berhenti impor minyak
too
dari
good to be
Venezuela.
true.
So, kalau gitu, dari mana mengandalkan minyak dari Rusia? Kagak bisa.
Can you
Diblokade juga.
mix me
Dari
another?
Algeria nggak bisa juga. Mereka kemudian impor minyak dari Meksiko. Tapi langkahnya Kuba terdeteksi guys sama Donald Trump bahwa Kuba selama ini impor minyak dari Venezuela. Kalau Venezuela di-cut, ternyata Kuba mulai mau pindahin orderan minyaknya dari Meksiko. Nah, Donald Trump nggak tinggal diam guys. Jadi lu bisa lihat, Donald Trump langsung bikin pernyataan. Negara
No,
manapun
well,
yang bikin
what was
produk
I
dan
going to
jasa,
say?
termasuk
I've
minyak bumi ke
completely
negara
lost
Kuba,
my train of
bakal
thought.
diboykot, bakal diserang sama Donald Trump.
Whatever. I feel fantastic. This cocktail. Oh, it's the best I've ever had. I think I'm gonna head home and get some sleep. Don't worry about me. This is the happiest tipsy I've been in years. I'm still far from being drunk. By the time I've written up those reports for my exchange with Miss Cloran, I'll have been on duty for 3 months straight. Jean, the acting grandmaster. Isn't it about time she gave me some time off? I won't be forgetting this injustice in a hurry. You mark my words.
Suspicion confirmed. While patrolling the area, I was sure I'd sensed a familiar presence, so I came over to take a look. And sure enough, here you are. If Miss Charlotte were to see you like this, I'm guessing she'd take 100 pictures and write up a report. Sword-wielding traveler's secret side hustle. Exclusive cocktails from Tevat's Explorer Extraordinaire. You'd make the front pages of every major newspaper. And there'd be crowds of Montanian tourists flocking to your drink stand, causing gridlock on the streets of Mondstadt. you. I turned down Miss Charlotte's request to accompany me here, so you're unlikely to be seeing any scenes like that. Let's quietly celebrate this moment of peace. And on that note, I'd like a caramel glaze. That look on your face tells me you have a lot of questions you want to ask. Calm and effortless. I'm shocked to learn you're a real pro at this sort of thing.
Your caramel blaze is ready. Try not to drink it all in one go.
Huh. It sure lives up to its name. The color reminds me of a raging fire, while that aroma really hits you head on. It's quite strong. I'm all right. I just need a little time to get used to it. As I recall, the last time I drank alcohol was at a wine tasting event that Navia invited me to last year. I only had a small sip of Sassica wine, and it was nowhere near as strong as this concoction. From a purely rational perspective, alcohol can cause dizziness and impair one's ability to work, so it's best avoided altogether. But when Miss Farina saw me off at the docks, she mentioned that Mondstadt is the land of wine and poetry. Since I'm here, I thought I should at least try the local specialties. In fact, Captain Eula, whom I sparred with earlier, has quite the refined taste for fine wine. She even gifted me a bottle of Romaritime flower fruit extract, which is no longer produced in Fontaine, and can now only be found overseas. Out of the utmost respect for her skills, I feel compelled to deepen my knowledge of Mondstadt's wines. I truly appreciate all the trouble you're going to. Indeed it is. The knights codenamed Hazelnut 3 and Hazelnut 5 gave me this crest. I must say, it's exquisite. They told me the design has only just been finalized. Apparently, it's only presented to important guests. They said they're making a badge for you, too, but it hasn't been finished yet. You're not wrong. I guess it's similar to how I can't remember the name of every clerk in the Palais Mermonia. But I'm certain you'll get to know them in time. They're clearly seasoned veterans. Even though they work desk jobs, they still turn up in full armor. After handling my affairs, they headed to the tavern for a gathering, saying they wanted to continue last night's duel and determine who had the highest alcohol tolerance. Drinking barrels of beer the night before, yet being able to work with clear minds the next day. Whew. So what you're saying is, while Mondstadters may seem carefree, they actually have an admirable ability to know their limits when it comes to drinking. When I'm working, I often drink coffee. But with meals, I prefer a lighter tasting drink, like Buell fruit juice. Since I eat a lot of meat, the slight acidity of the juice helps balance out the greasiness. Over time, I've grown accustomed to the sour taste. After the swordsmanship exchange, the Knights of Favonius rather kindly treated me to some traditional Mondstadt cuisine. I had 8 different meat dishes, and all of them were excellent. The portions were huge, and only the highest quality cuts were used. Everything was cooked to absolute perfection. Of course, there was still room for improvement. When catering to tourists, the sticky honey roast and pile 'em up might benefit from a slightly lighter sauce. I've certainly tried all the red meat dishes. I think I've had enough calories to sustain 3 days of vigorous work, so I've had to decline all subsequent dining invitations. To be honest, I can still taste the grease. There must be a way to cleanse my palate. I've seen a little. I took a stroll around the city the first day I got here. Navia's done some rather extensive research on this place. Many of the scenes and illustrations for the tabletop troupe were inspired by views of Mondstadt. However, the way she describes the atmosphere in her world building is quite different from the real Mondstadt. The deepest impression I've got since arriving here is one of swords and shields. Perhaps because I've mostly just visited the blacksmith and the training grounds. Recently, the newer weapons and armor produced in Mondstadt have been created using a completely different heat treatment process from those in Fontaine, with a higher carbon content in the surface layer. While this has slightly reduced their overall toughness, their impact resistance has greatly improved. These newer weapons give off a smell like overbrewed coffee. Perhaps it's because that scent gave me such a positive first impression. You see, Fontaine's signature metalwork is often coated with a protective agent that contains Marcotte. Over time, the faint fragrance becomes overly sweet. And for some reason, it makes my teeth feel funny. I don't imagine the scent of Mondstadt's swords and shields would cause the same level of irritation. Of course, there is a solution to this problem. The next time you find yourself in Fontaine, there's another protective agent I can recommend. One that's as neutral as water, without any excess fragrance. If you also dislike being bombarded with sweetness, this protective agent should suit you well. Huh? Does that mean she's already finished her commission? Well, she's certainly efficient. Once I return to Fontaine, perhaps I can let Sijui know that I'd be happy to purchase her latest perfume. I'm not sure I'd say that. On my way to Mondstadt, we happened to take the same boat. Naturally, we got to chatting. I've often heard Sijui praise her work. After conversing with her on the journey over, I must say, she is indeed a rare and refined individual. She's gentle and composed, yet keeps others at a distance. Perhaps it's due to her profession. I find this approach ideal. It allows one to maintain a lasting sense of inner peace. Oh, thank you, but there's really no need to set anything up. Our work rarely intersects, and our social circles hardly make for a Venn diagram, if you know what I mean. Best to just let things take their natural course.
Dibantu bayi. Hah? Dibantu bayi. Jadi kalau dulu enak. Lagi kompres dok. Kompres.
Are you already planning the details of our hypothetical get-together? Based on my previous experiences with alcohol, I guess my tolerance is similar to Emily's.
Sebelah kedua.
Fruit liqueur is probably my limit. So when the time comes, I think you'd be best off mixing similar drinks for the both of us. All right, I'll make sure I'm mentally prepared. Even if it's still a bit strong, I'll do my best to finish it.
All right, this new creation is called Leisure Time Lightning. A cocktail made exclusively for champion duelists. Enjoy.
Have you added fruit wine? It tastes wonderful. This is ideal for me. There's a subtle saltiness that combines well with the tartness of the fruit and the sweetness of the caramel. Each sip balances delicately on the edge of perfection. The color of the wine also fits well with the name, and the lightning imagery contrasts with the fiery nature of the caramel glaze. But where does the leisure time part come in? I see. That certainly matches the impression this cocktail gives me. Its unique aroma and taste will hold a special place in my memories of Mondstadt. Do you think, if the chance were to present itself, you'd be interested in mixing drinks somewhere else? A cafe, for instance, or the Hotel de Boer? Mostly for Navia and Miss Farina's sake. Though obviously I'd be more than happy to try more of your masterpieces myself. I understand. I won't try to strong-arm you. In any case, I truly appreciate your hospitality. Thanks to you, whether I'm summarizing the key lessons from my exchange with Miss Eula, or discussing strategy with the Knights of Favonius, I'll be in my best condition.
Huh? Is that Mr. Honorary Knight? Yippee! It's you! Auntie Eula told Klee that Miss Hertha had found someone amazing to help out. Seeing you here, Mr. Honorary Knight, Klee knows this must be the best drink stand in all of Teyvat. You mean this stand isn't already the best? Well, out of all the drink stands Klee's ever visited, Mr. Honorary Knight's is easily the best. And no matter what drinks Mr. Honorary Knight makes, Klee will definitely think they're yummy. Oh, you want me to be mean? But Klee could never be mean to you. Let me think. I know! I'll pretend to be Albedo! Whenever Albedo reviews Timaeus' work, his face goes super serious, and Klee can hear every word he says. Get ready for Klee's super amazing order! These past few days, I've been having such a blast with Mom all day long! It's been so much fun! Even being sent to solitary confinement couldn't wipe the smile off my face. So, Klee wants to order a fair weather frolic. Anything like a bright sunny day will definitely put Klee in a super duper mood. I wonder what it'll taste like.
Your Fairweather Frolic is here. Go on, give it a try.
Wow! So, a fair weather frolic is this color? Purple sky. Is it supposed to be a bright, shiny night? Klee will take a sip first. Then you can think about it more carefully. Ah, finished. Yummy! Both sweet and sour. If Klee drank this while eating grilled fish, I could definitely gobble down 2, or 3, or 4, or even 5. But one drink isn't enough. Klee wants to try a drink that tastes like cake. Klee doesn't know what drink to choose. Why don't we decide together, Mr. Honorary Knight? Yeah, Mom gave me an amazing book recently. She said I have to read one chapter every night, learn something useful, and then go to bed early. That book taught Klee how to make something called propellant. Now Jumpy Dumpty can go "Fwah!" and bounce even higher. It's not hard at all. In fact, it's a lot like making bombs. You just have to be careful when trimming it down. It's like sharpening a pencil that could suddenly go boom. Bedtime's an important part of Klee's schedule, too. Mom sits by my side and tells me all kinds of wonderful stories. She has a lamp made of gemstones, and when she turns it on, it goes kabling and lights up the ceiling. Yeah, when something happens in the story, the lights on the ceiling make pretty pictures. Sometimes Mom falls asleep before the story ends, so Klee has to tuck her in instead. As soon as Klee learns how to use the lamp, I can come tell you stories, Mr. Honorary Knight. Klee has memorized so many wonderful stories, enough to make everyone happy every day. Three square meals? Klee often eats 5 meals a day, sometimes even 7. Adventuring takes a lot of energy, and if I eat too much at once, I can't run so well. So, it's better to eat lots of smaller meals. Albedo used to prepare all Klee's meals, and my lunchbox was always arranged so neatly, just like a pretty painting. When Albedo's busy at Dragonspine, Klee goes to eat with the other Knights of Favonius. Kaya's camp is usually the neatest, while Amber sometimes camps in the trees. It's so much fun. Oh, and Auntie Hertha makes the best food. When my mom comes back, there'll be even more yummy food to eat. There's this one dish where she takes loads of different fish and makes them into little pudding cubes. It's called rainbow fish jelly. Her Chocogo Crunchy Slices are fantastic, too. It's her newest creation made with chocolate and cookies. They're a little bitter, but they're crunchy. They smell scrumptious, and they have a really sweet aftertaste. Whenever I eat them, I feel so full of energy. Next time, Klee will have to bring some for you to try. This stuff? Mom taught me how to make it using the alchemy bench. A dash of sugar, then a lot more sugar, then some flowers from Mom's friend in Fontaine, star honey from Auntie Barbie, and finally, some magical jam from Auntie Tavia. Put everything together on the alchemy table, wish for the shape you want, then recite Mom's incantation, and poof! Todoko-shaped candy! Klee can give you some Dodoko candy too if you want. And if you really like them, I can even teach you my mom's incantation. That way, you could make your own candy whenever you want. If you get stuck, remember to come ask Klee. When it comes to magical candy, I'm an expert. Yeah, when Klee gets back home, I'm gonna eat some salted nuts while reading my book. Klee used to eat cake after dinner, but Master Jean said it's too sugary, and it's not good to eat sugary things before bed. Apparently, it makes you chubby and gives you toothaches. So, Mom got some advice from Auntie Barbie, and now she gives me nuts instead. She says they help my brain remember things better. Nuts don't have much flavor. It's like chewing on grass, but they're okay if you add a little salt. Oh yeah, Klee still wants to eat sweet things, like cake, for example. Maybe we could just go easy on the cream? Or add more fruit? Oh, right! That friend of Mom's who's always wearing glasses gave her a big bag of Fontanian Buell fruit. They're so round and rolly. Klee ate a whole bunch of those, and they were super sweet. But Master Jean said it was okay, because sweet fruit isn't the same as sweet sugar. So if Klee really has to eat nuts, maybe I can just soak them in some fruit juice first? Yeah, that was quick. Klee's looking forward to finding out how tasty your next concoction is.
Ta-da! It's done! I just know you're going to love this new creation.
Wow! There's Dodoko candy on top! There's so much orange in this cup, and Dodoko looks like he's lying on top of white fluffy clouds. And the weather inside looks much better, too. Yummy! It's so delicious! Klee has to drink slowly. I can't just gulp it down, or I'll miss all the yummy flavor. Mr. Honorary Knight, this is amazing! It's like you mixed sunshine with juice! Klee was so tired from playing, but now I feel refreshed. And warm. And peaceful. Oh. You're the best, Mr. Honorary Knight. Really? Let me think. When the weather's nice and Dodoko's happy, Dodoko will want to sing, right? And when Dodoko sings, Klee wants to sing too. So, let's call it Dodoko's Duet. Thank you! And thanks for making such a yummy drink for Klee. Klee's gonna go tell Mom that the best drink in Mondstadt right now is Dodoko's Duet. Klee's gonna write down Mom's incantation and give you a copy, Mr. Honorary Knight. Then you should learn magic too, so you can make all the candies you want. See you next time!
So Hertha's even roped our honorary knight into helping with this little venture. Now that I'm finally free to relax, it's time to start doing just that. Can't wait to see your skills in action. Give me something that goes well with casual conversation, but still packs a punch. Of course they don't clash. A drink that packs a punch means you have to drink it slowly. And if you want to chat, then it has to go down smooth. So, something with a sweet aftertaste. A conversational connoisseur requires the perfect balance. The most suitable choice on this menu would be the Thorny Lake. It's a drink with a real kick that you can find in almost every bar. It's not enough to know the recipe, though. The key is in the mixing. Some bartenders choose to stick to the tried and tested basics, while others like to add their own personal flair. That's the spirit. Now, show me what you've got.
Grandmaster, I hereby present you with this thorny lake for your enjoyment and assessment.
Well, the color and aroma are certainly on point. But as for the balance of flavors, I'll just have to taste it and find out. Not bad. You haven't overdone or skimped on any single ingredient. Though, unfortunately, it's a little too, polite for my tastes. Perhaps I should have said modest. You followed the formula to a T, but if anything, you've played it a little too safe. Were you worried that deviating just a little might disappoint me? Hey, we fought side by side and dealt with things that even gods were loath to meddle with. Ours is a friendship forged in the margins between life and death. That said, if you ask me, you can ditch the nerves and work your mixologist magic. I'm looking for something that shocks the senses. Mull it over. There's no rush. We can chat while you think. Who knows? You might just find some inspiration to mix in with your magic. It's a treasured place that the Knights of Favonius have maintained for years. So it makes sense that it's become the go-to location for organizing such things. I heard that while the expedition was underway, you were a great help in giving those left behind the opportunity to put their energy to good use. Sometimes, I look through the photos I've been given from those events. Though unfortunately, there aren't enough to include everybody. My conclusion is that Mondstadt needs to do more to popularize the camera. Pretty awesome, huh? It's like a hammerhead that you can fill with wine when you're not using it to pound in nails. It was a gift. Hoffman came up with the idea, Charles supplied the design, Wagner helped cast it. And about 10 or so knights chipped in to pay for the materials. They've been waiting to have a good drink with me, and this is my crucial weapon to aid me in a fair duel with them all. I'm the Grand Master, after all. I've been drinking a lot longer than them. I've practiced more assiduously, and I have a bit more, meat to absorb the blows. So it's only fair to my subordinates that I drink a teensy bit more per round. Wouldn't you agree? Of course, some of them have been training as long as I have, and those ones won't be getting any special treatment. Take Hazelnut 3 and Hazelnut 5, for example. Both were skilled warriors who helped me deal with Eric back in the day. Nowadays, I have them helping Jean with miscellaneous duties. At today's after-work cooldown, they insisted on trying to keep pace. In the end, they lost our game of darts and ended up passed out on the floor. I've already told Jean that I won't be approving their leave request for tomorrow, no matter what. I like your style. Speaking of this garden, it brings back memories of something that happened many years ago. When I was young, I like to find ruined guards to test my fighting skills, both armed and unarmed. Once, I failed to take down a stray missile, and it ended up destroying a watchtower on the city walls. As punishment, I had to run 50 laps around the city, repair the watchtower, and help rebuild the shattered walls in this garden. Indeed, among the misadventures of my youth, this is one of the most memorable ones. Mostly because that day, Crepus saw me covered in dirt. He took 2 bottles of 100-year-old wine and sent D-Luke, who looked even younger than Mika does today, to work out a clever way to get rid of Faru, who was guarding me. It was so hot that day, I could swear I was about to pass out. On a whim, I picked some mint leaves, put them in one of the wine bottles, and the result turned out to be surprisingly tasty. After Crepus tried it too, he was full of praise. He even wrote up an official recipe for my spontaneous creation. His customers loved it. Several summers passed, and Crepus kept writing letters about giving me a share of the profits, as though I could possibly accept. Yes, good old Crepus. Faru retired years ago, but he still gives me a stern stare every time we meet. He's a stubborn one. D-Luke, who replaced him, and then Kaya, who took over later, both performed impeccably. Changing times will always belong to the youth. He should have admitted defeat long ago. When I get the chance, I'll have Kaya show him the amazing progress the cavalry company has made. If I were in charge of organizing events, well, I suppose everyone would revolve around fine wine, or at the very least, there would be some sort of tasting involved. For example, we could go all in on this drink stand and open it to the whole city, with every company of the Knights selecting one or more mixologists to compete against each other. It's only a thought. Can't let things get too out of hand. If I were to actually throw a grand banquet, Jean would come after me with her sword drawn. Even Frederica would launch a punitive expedition. While in Nodcry, we had a rule that knights must never get drunk while at their posts. Otherwise, it could lead to dereliction of duty with serious consequences. Exactly. As expedition members return to their companies, my hope is that this rule will gradually spread to everyone in Mondstadt too. Just like firewater and Smedina, these Nodcry delicacies have made their way into Mondstadt's households and become part of people's daily lives. Young people need to learn restraint. At the end of the day, no one should be biting off more than they can chew. Unless it's someone near my level, they shouldn't even be thinking about enjoying a light buzz when they've still got work to do. Most people would just end up a whole lot drunker than they'd like. You should come practice with me on weekends. Trust me, once I've drunk them under the table, they'll be swearing off wine for a whole week. Well, let me think. I guess you could say it lacks impact. Even when following the same recipe, the techniques used to mix different ingredients can affect the taste. Sometimes, deliberately creating layers between spirits can bring out the different waves as each one hits the taste buds in sequence. In this regard, too, you've taken quite a tentative approach. Why not be a little bolder? Ha ha ha. You catch on quickly. No need to explain further. Huh? Oh, feel free. Whatever you're about to do, I've got a feeling I've hit the jackpot.
Here you go, Grandmaster. A cocktail just for you. I guarantee you won't find this one too polite.
Such a spirited drink. How did you make this? Well, that burning scent of firewater. Oh, it's as if the very air were about to ignite. This is more like it. Perfection. It's clear that once you let go of your inhibitions, your talents really shine through. That first hint of mint is like a cooling feint that masks the firewater underneath. By the time the sweetness dissipates, the firewater is already slipped in behind your guard, ready to deliver a powerful strike of intense flavor. Oh, it's exactly the impact I was hoping for. That's the most ingenious part. Firewater's greatest flaw is a lack of aftertaste, but the Smetana perfectly maintains the flavor at the peak of its intensity. It's hard to imagine something this good was created by a mixologist who doesn't even drink firewater. I think it has the potential to become a firm favorite in Mondstadt and Nodcry. Iron Wolf. Oh, perfect. It's elegant, yet wild. Only you could come up with such a fitting name. Oh, I have an idea. Why don't we name our Knights of Favonius' drink stand after you? Let's call it the Honorary Knights Cocktail Shack. No time to waste. I'll go have a word with Glenfidia right away.
Hey there, traveler! All wrapped up for the day? Paimon hears you did a great job holding down the fort while she was out delivering drinks with Glenfidia.
Whatever the reason, the Honorary Knight is clearly one of the most talented mixologists in Mondstadt. Considering how short a time he's been doing this, I believe that someday he has the potential to give the legendary bartender at the Cat's Tail a run for her money.
I fully support your decision, Grandmaster. The Honorary Knight has really put in the hard yards. The drink stand will remain open for a little while longer to provide a proper welcome to our returning expedition members. Then, once we locate suitable premises, we also plan to look at operating a permanent service.
Hooray! Everyone in the Knights of Favonius will get to drink all the delicious cocktails they like!
Nothing short of what I'd expect from a true disciple of Hertha. You've really considered this thoroughly, Glenfidia.
Also, if I may, Honorary Knight, regarding the special cocktails you've developed, would you mind leaving the recipes with us? We'd like to add them to the official menu.
Paimon feels like there's something you still want to say. Let Paimon have a guess. Based on your personality, you probably want to introduce the origin of each different cocktail. That way, customers will know who inspired you to create these amazing drinks.
No problem at all. If you need, I can even have someone draft the paperwork on your behalf to secure you the rights to these new recipes.
I hope when we recruit some new bartenders, they'll be able to learn from your incredible skills. Even if they can't quite match your work, if they could be 2/3 as good, that would still make them industry leaders.
Ad Astra. Thank you for completing